I've played and completed Octopath Traveler 1, 2 and 0, and I've got to admit, Octopath Traveler is becoming, if not already has become, one of my favourite RPG series to play. I'm already waiting on what's next, and I'm wanting more, but do I really need to wait that long? Because we have another entry, Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent, and thanks to this sponsorship, I now have the opportunity to check it out, look how it stacks up with the other Octopath Traveler entries, and share with all of you on what you can expect with Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you being here. If you want to support the channel, please hit the like button, and if you want to stick around for some more Octopath Traveler content, you're already in the right place, just hit that subscribe button. And if during this video you want to try Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent, please check out the links in the description and the pinned comment down below. Now, one thing that Octopath Traveler is known for is its HD 2D graphic style, which consists of detailed pixel characters on highly detailed 3D backgrounds, and in Champions of the Continent, this carries on and preserves that Octopath Traveler aesthetic. Expect beautifully styled environments with atmospheric lighting, layered backgrounds, and smooth animated effects that bring both exploration and battles to life. The style retains the charm of old-school RPGs while using modern rendering to add depth and polish, making environments, towns, characters, enemies, and even bosses visually engaging on mobile screens. Let's talk about story and characters. Let me set the scene for you. In Ostera, sacred rings with godlike powers have fallen into the wrong hands. 3 tyrants now rule through wealth, power, and fame, tearing the continent apart to satisfy their own ambitions. You step in as one of the chosen, traveling across Ostera, gathering allies from all walks of life and taking the fight directly to the forces driving the world into chaos. Now, if you're coming into Champions of the Continent after playing Octopath 0, the biggest difference you'll notice is how the story is told. In Champions of the Continent, instead of one main hero, the story is told through a large ensemble cast, and the plot is split into multiple arcs centered around different villains and themes like wealth, power, and fame. Another change is the progression and pacing. In Champions of the Continent, stories are delivered in chapters, side arcs, and character stories that unlock over time. That said, if you pay attention, you'll recognize familiar lore, locations, and themes. Champions of the Continent still explores Ostera's darker side and the consequences of greed, tyranny, and ambition. It just does so on a broader, world-spanning scale rather than a single personal one. All in all, it's really quite the immersive experience when it comes to the story. One of the biggest differences between Octopath Traveler 0 and Champions of the Continent is how playable characters are handled. In Champions of the Continent, instead of a single main hero, you can recruit dozens of playable characters, each with their own backstories, personalities, and side quests. Every character feels like a potential protagonist, even if they're not central to the main story. Another major shift is party structure. Because Champions of the Continent is designed as an ongoing experience, new characters are added over time, expanding the roster far beyond what you'd expect from a console RPG. This gives players incredible variety in party options. There's also various event calibrations for the opportunity to get characters from the previous Octopath Traveler games in your party, and it doesn't even stop there. There's been collaborations with the Final Fantasy, Bravely Default, Nier, and you can even grab yourself a character from Octopath Traveler 0, but it doesn't stop there. The latest collaboration is Dragon Quest III, which gives you such a choice of characters to take with you on your adventure. Before we move on to gameplay, the one thing I really want to highlight about Champions of the Continent is how surprisingly player-friendly and stress-free it is, especially for a mobile game. Even though it's on mobile, Champions of the Continent is designed as a pure single-player experience. There's no PvP, leaderboards to chase, and no pressure to log in every day just to keep up with other players. The game also lets you save anywhere and stop at any time, which makes it perfect for those shorter sessions. You can pick it up, play through a story chapter or a few battles, and put it down without worrying about losing progress or missing out. Another big win for me personally is the lack of stamina limits. You're not gated by energy systems that tell you to stop playing. If you just want the story, go grind enemies and materials, or just explore Ostera at your own pace, the game lets you do exactly that. And because there's no daily task or pressure or social obligations, Champions of the Continent feels much closer to a traditional RPG than your typical mobile game. Now on to the gameplay of Champions of the Continent. In Octopath Traveler 0, exploration is very much built around long play sessions. You're moving through big areas, pushing towards story objectives, and uncovering side content as you go along. Champions of the Continent takes that same world design and breaks it into bite-sized exploration loops. Areas are smaller, more focused, and easier to jump in and out of. You're still finding hidden paths, optional dungeons, and secret chests, but it's designed so you can explore a little, save, and walk away without losing momentum. Path actions. These are a little bit different in Champions of the Continent. When paired with the influence system, it actually plays a big role in how you interact with the world. Every character belongs to one of 3 paths at first. These paths affect which NPCs you can interact with, what kind of items you can obtain, and even how certain side stories unfold. Each character has an influence value which basically represents how much sway your party has in the world. When you're trying to unlock certain chests, talk your way into restricted areas, or trigger special events, the game checks your total influence in that path. If you don't have enough, you'll need to swap party members or build characters that specialize in that area. Let's talk combat. Combat in Champions of the Continent stays true to the classic Octopath battles, but it adds a few systems that really change how fights flow. At the core, it's still all about breaking enemies by hitting their weaknesses and lining up big turns. That part will feel familiar right away. The big difference is party size. You're running 8 characters split into a front and back row. Only 4 fight at once, but you can swap them mid-battle, which adds a lot more strategy than you'd expect. Those swaps aren't just cosmetic. Pulling someone to the back lets them recover, avoids a lethal hit, or sets you up to answer an enemy's next move. It really gets you to think a little bit more when heading into battles. In these battles, you'll use BP. You build it up over time, so you're consistently thinking a few turns ahead. Do you boost now to stay alive, or hold it and go for a clean break later? Boss fights especially reward patience and punish panic plays. Then there's Luminous Blessing, which gives you a kind of safety net in tougher encounters. It lets characters survive situations that would normally wipe them out, buying you just enough time to recover or reset your formation. It doesn't play the game for you, but it can absolutely save a run if you plan around it. The Dual World Ring adds another layer on top of that. It lets you adapt to the different situations by enhancing specific combat effects, whether that's damage, survivability, or utility. It's subtle, but over long fights it makes a real difference, especially in the late game content where every turn counts. What I like the most is the combat never feels rushed, and there's no auto-win mentality. Even regular fights can go sideways if you're a little sloppy, and bosses demand that you actually understand your tools. It's a little less about going on the offensive, it's more about timing, setup, and smart decisions. All in all, Champions of the Continent is a great way to get more Octopath Traveler goodness anytime and anywhere. And yes, that does include an amazing soundtrack to accompany it. Every single track is a banger. If this is an experience you want to try, even if you've played Octopath Traveler 0, use the links in the description and in the pinned comment. Download Champions of the Continent and give it a go for yourself. Let me know how you get on. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.